Yeah, a couple of injury updates is that James McCarthy is travelling in today, and I think so we'll assess him and see how he is. Obviously, midweek he played for Crystal Palace and just a, just got a knock on the back of his leg, really, just a tackle, and he was quite sore after it. So we'll assess it today and see how he is. I know James is very keen to come back and play for Ireland. It's been a few years now since he's played, and I know he'd be a huge addition to us, no doubt. Also, Troy Parrott got injured yesterday in the game for Millwall, so picked up an injury and has travelled this morning. So we'll have a scan in the afternoon and we'll see the extent. We just pulled up just sort of a tight muscle, so we'll see how that is. Obviously, time is we'll have to assess the injury. It's only a short space of time, so we'll have to see how it is.
And in terms of calling players up?
Yeah, we have added Darragh O'Shea to the squad. So he's just Darragh has obviously come through the ranks from under 15 right through every year, and he's shown himself very capable of playing in all four positions really with West Brom last year. He's a centre half really who's played right to the ranks of centre back. He's played right back for a good bit of the season, left back then towards the end of the season for West Brom. So we just, with one or two other injuries and strains and so forth, we've just given ourselves that additional cover with Darragh coming in, as the ability to play the four positions is an asset.
Tottenham have confirmed in the past few minutes that the transfer of Matt Doherty from Wolves has gone through. Have you had a chance to talk to Matt over the last few days and what it means? It's obviously a huge move for him, huge move for Bohemians.
It's certainly interesting move for Matt. He's been a tremendous servant to Wolves. Really, he's had a great 10 years there. Been in League One with them after moving from Bohemians, and I think credit to Mick McCarthy took him initially at Wolves and did very well, and obviously he's pushed on in since that, and I think he's pushed on over the last number of years. He's been really his number of assists and goal scoring fullback, and I think if your fullbacks are creating scoring goals, it's a real asset, and I think it's great value for Tottenham. I think it's a great deal for Tottenham.
You spoke a lot about James McCarthy in the squad announcement and how important a player he could be, particularly if you get him back to his very best. If he doesn't make it, do you feel you have a like for like who can play in that central midfield role in terms of his skill set, or is it a slightly different balance in midfield if he's not there?
No, I don't see a different balance, but we have other players who can play in that position. Harry Arthur's played there for Fulham a lot this year, and obviously Conor Hourihane has played in that position as well, and Jason Malumbi can play there as well. So we have we have good options in that midfield area.
It feels like we spent the last 2 years talking about what might happen when you're in this position. It's great to finally be here, and it is match week. Can you talk about your feelings at the moment because it's been a long build up for you and the management team waiting for a game to finally come around, what it feels to actually have the players coming in today and to get that first meeting with them?
Yeah, it's been obviously it's been strange times due to COVID and so forth, and everyone has had to adapt, and a lot of people have made much greater sacrifices than we've had. So, but at the same time we do have to adapt, and we're delighted to get the opportunity to go to Bulgaria this week. Obviously, they're not on the green list for travelling countries, so that was in jeopardy, and we're delighted to be able to get the opportunity to go and come back and play Finland on Sunday. I think it's an exciting start for us, and we're really looking forward to it.
Thanks, Nathan. Paul?
Thanks. Stephen, this is obviously a great move for Matt, but does it almost increase the pressure on you almost to get him into the starting 11? If he does make the starting 11, is he in instead of Coleman perhaps? You've got a couple of tough decisions to make there.
Yeah, well, there's tough decisions in all areas, there's no doubt. I think we've right back has been a particularly strong position for Ireland. It's probably the strongest out of all the positions because Cyrus Christie has had a really good, strong end of the season at Fulham, and we could actually have 4 right backs in the Premier League next year between Matt Doherty, Seamus Coleman, Cyrus Christie, and Darragh O'Shea. So, which is unbelievable, really, and that's it's quite conceivable that could happen, and I think so. It is an area. Matt, obviously very undervalued by Ireland. Probably only 3 competitive starts for Ireland. He's 28 years of age, so I think it's quite a stark statistic, really. And I think, but at the same time, Seamus has been an outstanding player for Ireland for a number of years, and brilliant captain. So it's a good position to be in.
Have you decided on a formation at this point?
Yes, I have. But obviously, I was discussing that with the players, and we're working on it on the training ground during the week. We'll outline how we want to play for sure, and we'll work on it over the next 2 days. Not a lot of time to prepare, but clearly we'll maximise the time that we have, and we'll enjoy the time that we have. And we're lucky we have the players in this afternoon. We can work on, we can outline how we want to play this evening, and spend the next 2 days working on the training ground how we want to play, and how Bulgaria will play against us. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. In general, then, would you say attacking is probably the area that needs most development? Because I think it was just 7 goals scored in the last qualifying.
Yeah, and you're right. In the 6 games between Denmark and Georgia and Switzerland, just 4. So and 3 of them were in the late rallies. Which was a positive thing, which we want to continue. That's that was the positive side of the campaign. Sort of. The team never gave up and kept going. But I think it's an area of improvement for sure. I think we want to create more chances to score more goals. That's without doubt. That has to be the objective. But we have to get the balance right. I think we have to get the balance right, and that's what we'll be working on.
Just finally for me, some of the commentary about the team in recent years is that they're not good enough to do a play possession game or to keep the ball. With this in mind, do you feel that you need to give them a bit of a pep talk just to increase their confidence a little bit when they get in, or when you do need them, when you have them?
Listen, we have a lot of good players in the international team. We've players that are playing at in the English Premier League and in the Championship, and we've got players playing at a high standard. Yes, we haven't got that many players playing in the Champions League, but we have players playing with really good clubs in the Premier League and in the Championship. We've got a very players that love playing for Ireland. We have it's the pinnacle of their career to play for Ireland. We know that there's 8 games now coming up in the next 3 windows. We know that the Nations League is important for us because it's a World Cup playoff. Is a possibility if you win the group, which is a huge incentive. We haven't been in a World Cup since 2002. We know that the European Championship playoff is the thoughts of us not being in Dublin next year in the European Championships. Would be it'd be such an amazing experience that we should do everything collectively to try and make that happen for ourselves, because that's what we want. We want to be in the European Championship. We've got a tough draw. We have to win 2 significant away games, away to Slovakia and away to Bosnia, which we haven't looked like doing for a while, and I think it's for a long time. And I think, but we have to. These games against Bulgaria and Finland are hugely important in their own right because of the Nations League competitive games, because of the World Cup playoff. But it also gives us an opportunity to put, to formulate the team and get it ready for the playoff against Slovakia also. So it's a good opportunity in that regard.
All right, thanks.
Just so you all know, we stopped the live streaming now. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Tony.
Stephen, first of all about Matt Doherty. Do you think Spurs is a good fit for him?
Yeah, it was interesting the views, because I went to see Spurs. I went to see Tottenham a couple of times in the stadium last year, in the new stadium, and looking at the way they played tactically, it's interesting. I'm interested in the fact that in international football, a lot of teams are something. It's more evident that teams are treating, they're not treating the pitch equally. Like they've set up. The balance of the team is set up differently. For example, Tottenham are an example of this. The left back has been playing very narrow. And when I was in London Stadium looking at Serge Aurier, in my eye line, he was in line with Harry Kane. His starting position was in line with Harry Kane. So they took the left full right in, and he was really playing as a nearly so high. Lucas Moura was narrow, and so they set up that last season, and more and more teams are setting up with imbalanced teams to sort of in search of perfection, and I think it's quite nuanced, and that's so Matt. I can see why Matt would be a perfect fit in that scenario, but he can adapt and play in a conventional back forward as well, and I don't see a problem for that. So I think it's interesting.
From your point of view, though, do you think he'll get a lot of game time under Jose Mourinho?
I would think so. Yeah, I think he's one of the best full backs around for sure, and I would say he'll be very much in the frame to play.
It seems a cheap enough price considering what some transfer fees have been recently, particularly at that level of the Premier League.
Yeah, that's the case, but I'm sure it's good business for Tottenham. He's been a brilliant servant to Wolves, and I'm sure the Wolves supporters appreciate that. You don't get many players at a club for a decade, 10 years, and having moved from Bohemians, and I think he still has some good years ahead of him. I think he showed his character by getting some late goals. I remember, even for Ireland this year against Denmark, playing right back, scoring a header at the back post in a conventional right full position. For Wolves, we've seen so many times scoring goals and assisting. So yeah, it's a good bit of business for Tottenham.
Is it for you though, either or with James Coleman? Can you find a way of picking them both in the same 11?
I'm sure. Yeah, we've got so many games as well, and we've got 8 games in the next 3 windows, and we want the opportunity to go to the Euros, and that would mean a record amount of games in the calendar year if that was the case. So yeah, that's the way we have to think, and there's lots of games for all of the players.
Another man who's just completed a transfer and who's been a great servant to Ireland so far, Hendrick, and his Newcastle move. Your response to that, or your thoughts on that for him?
Yeah, it's interesting because I know Jeff was very keen to play in the central midfield. Obviously he made a lot of appearances for Burnley, a Burnley team who did very, very well, and he did a really good job for the team, and did play different positions, but over the last years played on the right side of a 4, and I know he was keen to play in a central position, and hopefully Newcastle's obviously a very, very big club, and hopefully he gets the opportunity to play in midfield there, which would be fantastic for him.
I think there was a sense almost that Steve Bruce might have said to him that he's thinking of him for a central position. Yeah,
well I think that would be great for him, no doubt.
But from your point of view, have you earmarked James McCarthy a fit for that kind of holding central midfield role?
No, I don't really see Jeff as that position, as a holding player. That's not where I see him. I think he's an attacking midfield player, so he could play. I see Jeff as an attacking midfield player, so slightly different positions.
What about Troy Parrott? You said that he's how concerned are you for him at the moment?
Yeah, I'm not sure now because obviously we're early Sunday morning. It's only happened, and so we'll have to see. Sometimes these things we'll have to. I really would be only speculating because I really don't know till he comes in and the doctor and the physiotherapist are able to assess him, and he's due to have a scan.
As usual with Troy, though, he goes to Millwall and does what he does everywhere else. He scores. He's already in two. Yeah, it's a good start for him. So hopefully we'll have to see how the injury is and take it from there. Right. Tell me about your plans for the next few days. Players only coming in today as such, but what's the timetable as such? What are you hoping to do with them? Are you going to have a team meeting tonight, or just have dinner, or how does that go?
No, we're in today, and the whole team is in, with one exception. Mark Travers plays against Benfica tonight for Bournemouth, and so he flies in the morning, and after that, so yeah, we'll get together, meet all of the staff and a lot of new staff as well, of course, and the players, and and we'll outline how we want to play. And I think tomorrow on the training ground, then we can work on that. And between tomorrow and Tuesday, obviously we have to be cognizant of the fact that some players have played 90 minutes yesterday, and we have to tailor a training accordingly. And you know, and I think the main thing is that, you know, that because we've got two games, Thursday and Sunday, so we can't expect to get too much in 2 days. You know, I think we have to be cognizant of the fact we don't want to pick up injuries, and we want to make sure we peak on Thursday and on Sunday.
You mentioned that there was one or two other injuries. Can you let us know who else is in the doubtful list or in the
nobody else is really doubtful. Everyone is okay, really. They're the only two, really. James, McCarthy and Troy Parrott.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry, just put more, Stephen, on what you're talking about there and the maybe lack of time on the training pitch and the conditioning of the players. How difficult a job is it for you, the management team, and maybe the medical staff as well, to know the condition of the players for Thursday night when you've... I think Alan Brown played a full 90 yesterday, what was a competitive game in the Carabao Cup. I think Matt Doherty just came back from his holidays yesterday. The likes of Darren Randolph, Jeff Hendrick haven't played a competitive game in maybe 6-7 months. How much does that conditioning come into your thinking of picking the team for Thursday night? Yeah,
I think we've taken everyone on an individual basis. You know, we've done a profile of each player, how they've trained. We've got their data, you know, as much data as we can, and information from the clubs. Damien Doyle has been very proactive in that and organising all of that. And I think you know, it's an individual basis. Darren Randolph played two matches already, 2 friendlies, you know, and I think you're right about Alan Brown playing 90 minutes yesterday. James McLean played 90 minutes yesterday, and so did Darragh Lenihan, played 90 in the Carabao Cup. Some players played in friendlies, some players played on Friday, so we have to modify that. And Matt Doherty I'm not concerned about, because he's playing in the, you know, he had a 13-month season, you know, and he played in the Europa League quarter final, wasn't it, up to a couple of weeks ago. So he's had a couple of weeks off, but you know, he's fine. You know, he's, you know, absolutely, yeah. So I wouldn't be concerned about that.
Can
I just ask about bringing Darragh Shea in? Maybe I'm missing something. Sorry, chaos. Maybe I'm missing something here, but you said at the squad announcement that Kevin Long was probably next up in line, that you were kind of sorry to have had to leave now. Is it the versatility?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kevin Long was next player in at centre back at that stage for sure. Kevin Long was unfortunate not to make the squad in the first place. You know, I think it's the ability to cover the 4 positions.
Okay.
Just gives us that little bit of insurance, really, in my mind, for any you know, any bad luck over the next couple of days. You know.
Okay. And any clearer sense on the Goldrick? You said that he wouldn't be in for the first game originally. Is the plan still to bring him in for the Finland game?
Yes, that's still the plan at the moment.
Yeah.
So we'll have to assess. It depends how his training week goes with Sheffield United over the next few days.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Just on Parrott and McCarthy, Stephen, you'll know about their availability tonight and say, will it be this evening, or when would you expect to do something?
We should know about Troy for sure. With James, obviously it's a kick, so it's like a Troy should be clear information, you know, from the scan. With James, it should be one where he's nursing, and it depends how he goes over the next few days, really, you know, and we'll see then, I think, you know.
Okay, you're all happy? All good? Sorry.
Shane Duffy is another man who's been linked to a move in the last few weeks. How important is it for you, I suppose, that he continues to get regular game time?
Yeah, I think it's important for Shane, and he knows that he's desperate to play. He's at the peak of his career, 28 years of age. He's been sort of a very strong personality for Ireland, and indeed for Brighton over the last few years. And I think so. I'm sure a lot of managers like to have Shane, and he's at the type of player he is. He needs to be playing regularly, and he knows that. And whoever gets him, we get a really competitive centre half who's tremendous in both boxes, and he's a very good player, Shane, all round. So I think he'd be a real addition to whoever signs him.